I think obviously having that feeling of winning gold, it's something you want to replicate and do again. And you want to get back to that moment because it was so special to be a part of.
This is the Token CEO podcast. It is Thursday, January 20th in the year 2022. We made it. This is episode 199. Next week is our 200th episode, which is crazy. We do not have a presenting sponsor, but this is usually the time where I tell you about collagen or working out at home or something that you should do to better yourself. Don't do it. Don't get better. Just be yourself. That's the message for episode 199. Here's what we're doing today. We've got 5 things. We've got headlines. We're doing a Q&A. Q&A is my favorite part of the episode. We have an awesome interview with the women's hockey Olympians. It's very cute. I realize that most people that listen to this do not give a shit about women's hockey. I've been given that note like 200 times. Stop talking about women's hockey. But it's actually funny. I think we made it into a funny episode about being an athlete, being a woman, what brand is your team, which is a great question for anybody, no matter where you work, whether your work is being on an Olympic ice hockey team or you work in the marketing department. We are talking about the stock market in adulting, and then we are featuring an awesome, awesome woman for Work Like a Girl this week. All right, so let's start it up with the headlines. So speaking of female athletes, let's go to our first headline, which is that according to Forbes, the highest paid female athletes score a record $167 million. What Forbes did was to look at the world's 10 highest paid female athletes. They found that they earned a combined $167 million total pre-tax in 2021. That's a 23% increase over 2020, 16% increase over a record $143 million in 2013. Tennis star Naomi Osaka topped the women's list with a whopping $57 million. Now, by comparison, this is always the way it goes for women, Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter, he makes himself $180 million. So the top UFC fighter makes more than the top 10 female athletes combined. That should be the headline for Forbes, but it's not. So what's interesting about Osaka is that her on-court earnings, so she plays tennis, obviously, are around $2 million. Her off-court sponsorship, so that's the apparel brands, the watches, the beverages, must be like $55 million. So super interesting. I'm actually curious what will happen with her sponsors if she continues to not play. I think we're in this really interesting time culturally where not playing and making a statement about mental health may actually increase your advertising or enterprise value versus playing and not saying anything, which is, I think in history has never been said before. So that's very interesting. The other woman driving up the $167 million is Serena Williams. So if you haven't watched King Richard, watch King Richard. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Of the $167 million, it's really driven by those 2 women and those 2 women alone who play one sport. So when you think about monetization of women's athletes, tennis people can make money, period. No one else really in any other sport has broken through to command the type of premium and the type of sponsorships that the women of tennis are making. The last thing and the dirty little secret on this is that to enter the top 10 list of highest paid female athletes, it's actually lower than it was a decade ago. So a decade ago, to make the top 10 list, you had to make $6.1 million. Now to make the top 10 list, you only have to make $5.7 million. Not that huge of a difference in terms of the actual number itself, but not a great trend. So I would say from a monetization perspective, here is what's awesome, which is that there are powerhouse women in tennis making a lot of money. Those are women of color, which is super awesome. The not awesome thing is that the money being made by female athletes is not being spread across multiple sports or multiple women. It's highly, highly concentrated. The second not awesome thing is that the trend is regressing. So it is taking less and less to make the top 10 list versus where it was a decade ago. When you think that of all that's happened in women's athletics, when you think of all that's happened around women in general, the fact that you don't have to make as much as you made 10 years ago to make a top 10 list is not a great sign. I think it's probably just more so a factor of it's the same 10 women. They're probably 40% tennis players, 50% tennis players. But it just shows you the challenge right now around, I think, women's athletics, which is women's athletics still do not have big, notable stars. And they don't have big, notable stars with sustained earning power. I think what's awesome about the Olympics is you go into the Olympics, women shine at the Olympics. But then the question is like, how long will they shine for and how much money they make? And if I'm reading this, I'm like, unless they're playing tennis in the Summer Olympics, they are not making dick. So that's that section of our headline. Next update is Netflix has its earnings this week. So Netflix has its earnings this week. They're raising subscription prices. Good for Netflix. They're going up $1. So the basic $9.99 plan jumped $1. The standard plan jumped $1 and change from $13.99 to $15.49, and the premium plan rose a whopping $2 to $20 a month. Pretty fascinating that Netflix is $20 a month. I don't think anyone argues about what they pay Netflix. I think everyone is grateful for getting their Netflix. This announcement caused the Netflix stock to rise by 3%. They raised prices in 2019. They raised them again in 2020. As you guys know, Netflix has over 213 million subscribers around the world. I think there's two really interesting things about Netflix. Is one, Netflix raises prices and consumers don't even blink. Truly, nobody even cares. The second thing is, I actually had this funny thing where I had an outrageous credit card bill, probably like 10 years ago, maybe more, maybe like 11 years ago, 12 years ago, had this crazy credit card bill. So you know how in January when like the Amex statement comes out and then it tells you how much you've spent throughout the past year and what you've spent it on, which is outrageous and horrible. And like, in addition to feeling like shit because you're sober in January and you're like, oh, I'm too fat and I should be thinner and I should have more discipline and better habits and all of that, I got the Amex statement and of course was like completely getting my head kicked in for all of the spending on shit I don't need. And my one thing was like, my Netflix subscription, I don't even use it. We should cancel that. And at that point it was like $7.99 a month. And I was like, I'm going to die on the hill of the errant Netflix subscription. Now I pay $20 a month and I couldn't be happier about it. I pay $50 a month. So what's interesting about this is Netflix can raise prices, consumers don't care. You see cord cutting happening everywhere. Netflix, I would argue, is a must-have entertainment platform versus basic cable, which used to be your must-have entertainment platform. The second thing, I had a fascinating conversation last week. I was on a board call and they were talking about Netflix and live sports and, also to the Olympics. When you look at what's happening with Netflix and you look at what happened in particular with Formula One, where a documentary on a sports league and a sports product created a massive level of interest and engagement in that sport. So that type of causal relationship used to only be enjoyed basically by network broadcasters. And now the internet has taken over and Netflix has taken over, whereby they not only can create great creative programming on things, they can drive wide-scale consumer interest in them. And ultimately, I think Netflix will be able to profit from them as leagues and entities themselves. So a lot of interesting things happening from Netflix. A second headline on this one, South Korea is going to be pivotal to Netflix key to international success. There was a Bloomberg article called Netflix Needs New Subscribers. Its Korean playbook is its secret weapon. What was interesting about this is that after Squid Game launched on Netflix, more and more people started watching Korean shows. So everyone here remembers Netflix has that crazy sophisticated algorithm which serves you up just the right picture and just the right combination of shows. And once you watch Squid Game, it was like, doot, 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 doot. I'm going to show you other Korean directors. I'm going to show you other Korean programming. This used to happen in radio. It obviously happened in network television. It happened to a degree on the internet. Netflix is becoming so powerful, not only in what people watch, but what types of things people watch, who people watch, and how they engage with them. So in the representation category of this podcast, two big things. So Black journalist and suffragist Ida B. Wells has a new Barbie doll. She is the Barbie model. So Ida Wells was a Black American. She was born into slavery in the middle of the Civil War. She went on to have a historic life. She became a prominent journalist. She was a suffragist. That means that she really strongly advocated for women to vote. And she was also very, very critical in writing into history the lynching of African Americans through the South. If it were not for Ida B. Wells, those stories may not have been told. She risked her life for them. Now Mattel is honoring her, so you won't just have blonde, nice brunettes with shiny hair and big boobs. You're going to have the Ida Wells Barbie. She is entering into their Inspiring Women series. Also, shout out Maya Angelou, going to be on the quarter. So shout out to Maya Angelou. All right, then we're going to take a quick break and talk about Wordle. So I cannot figure out why people waste their time. Like, why are people not so busy? I don't get it. It's like Candy Crush or HQ Trivia. Like, do you remember? I remember working at AOL when HQ Trivia was big, and people would like make breaks at 12 and 3, and I was like, what the fuck are people doing? Why aren't you working harder? Which is a terrible thing to say. You're not supposed to say that, but I'm gonna get canceled for saying that, but whatever. All right, so Wordle's going viral. Okay, I'm just gonna read everyone the net, which is not the Erika net. This is what's amazing about Wordle is it's incredibly simple, and because everyone's given just one word a day, the same word, although I've heard this refuted on Twitter, you can't spend ridiculous amounts of time on it and become addicted. The creator of the game made it as a gift to his partner. That's cute. It was never intended to be a moneymaker. As far as I know, they haven't commercialized it. But it'll be interesting to see if someone comes in and swoops up Wordle. According to Wordle Inc., which there is such a thing, from November to January 13th, there were 1.3 million tweets on Wordle. They're having a 26% day-over-day growth rate. That's pretty insane. It's getting replicated. Someone made a paid version on Apple, and Apple took that down. And then what people are comparing this to is Farmville. I would compare it to Candy Crush, HQ Trivia. What else are there? What else have you guys been into? I just can't understand why people do this with their time. But whatever. Good for people for sharpening their mental skills. Okay, we're done with headlines. If you haven't already subscribed to Things You Missed, so Things You Missed is our daily newsletter. You can read it and give me your feedback. If you go to barstool.link/TYM, you can subscribe to Things You Missed. Okay, we're talking about Felix Gray. So we've got a new partner on the pod. You've probably seen Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy wears his Felix Grays like it's his job. I actually need glasses, and the awesome thing about Felix Gray is you can get glasses that actually help you see or read better, and they protect you from blue light. Blue light is so damaging. 5 years ago, Felix Gray set out to create eyewear that would improve screen time. Since then, they've been on a mission to help people create a better relationship with technology. You know what it feels like when you've been staring at your screen for like 17 hours. If you go to felixgrayglasses.com/token, you can get your own Felix Grays. They're awesome. Everybody here wears them. I love them. I can't wait to get my lychee colored ones. And I think everybody is spending so much time on their phones that it's going to shoot your eyes like right to death. So why not wear Felix Grays and help protect yourself? If you are losing your eyesight like me, you can get the prescription ones. If you're not and you just like the look and you're on your screen all the time, you can get the non-prescription ones. If you go to felixgrayglasses.com/token, that's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/TOKEN, you put that in your Wordle. You can get free shipping, free return, and free exchanges. So go to felixgray.com/token. All right, Q&A. I need some advice on when it's appropriate to follow up after submitting an application. I replied right before Christmas, knowing it would take a bit longer than expected to hear back on an interview. How long do you think I should wait before I follow up, or do I need to be more patient? If you want the job, do not be patient. End of story. So if you really want the job, you submitted to apply to a job before the Christmas holidays or before Thanksgiving or before 4th of July, really doesn't matter. Let's be honest, at the end of last year, everybody was fried. I actually was looking at the Token episodes and I was like, holy shit, I look so sad, so fried, so overwhelmed. That's how every hiring manager felt at the end of 2021. So if you want the job, go get the job. Write them an email, send them a DM, text the person if you have their phone, send a written letter if you're so motivated. If you really want the job, do something creative to get noticed. God forbid, pick up the phone. People never pick up the phone anymore. Just pick up the phone and call the person. Now, they may not answer, or they may say, the hiring manager may say, ooh, like we had budget cuts coming back into January. I think that happens a lot. I feel like people go away for a holiday break and then they come back and kind of reevaluate things. But there is no such thing as being patient. Like, yes, you need to not be annoying. Yes, you need to like chill in your insides where you're all like anxious and worked up about getting a job, but you should always err on the side of being proactive and active about getting a job. Second one, I have an employee on my team who is constantly accusing me of withholding a promotion. Ooh, I love this. All right, 3 of his peers have been promoted before him, and that was not an accident. He is great at his job, but the others are better. This has been communicated to him. We're also dealing with a limited number of promotions we can award every 6 months. Frankly, I dread getting on the phone with him because we always circle back to this topic and he becomes frustrated and rude. How can I get him off my back, but also keep him motivated to do good work? What an awesome question. I love this. Okay, so here's my 2 cents on this. One is, let's start with the employee. Let's start with the guy. So one is, if you're working hard and you do great work and you see everyone else getting promoted around you, at some point you're going to get pissed off and you're going to start looking for another job. So on the manager side of the house, I think you've got to be expecting that this person is out looking for another job. Nobody likes to see other people succeed ahead of them, especially when they feel empowered and entitled to the promotions that other people are getting. Second of all, I would, from a manager perspective, what I would say is you really got to set up what you value. Right? Here is what I value in my group. Here is what we value in this team. Here's what this company values. And the people who are going to get promoted are displaying X, Y, and Z really consistently. And here's an example of where you can do a little bit more or approach things differently to get into the bucket of promotions. I also would be really blunt and very clear about, hey, there's a limited number of promotions. Sounds like you're doing this. One of the frustrating things about being a manager is you feel like you say the same thing like every fucking day. And guess what? Like, that's just part of being a manager. Like, you just have to repeat things constantly, and that's just life. So if you're not wanting to do that, then you should really rethink your manager stuff. The other thing I would say is, it sounds like there's a deeper issue than just this person's work, and that this guy's attitude, the way he approaches things, general demeanor seems to be an issue. And you should really question, do you want this guy on your team? And is this person the right person to be a high-functioning, positive, great member of your group? I think if you want to keep him, you should say, hey, I think that you can get promoted by this date, but you're going to need to do these 3 things, and you're going to need to show this level of maturity or this level of positivity or this level of proactiveness or whatever it may be. And then if you're an employee and you work at a company and everybody's getting promoted around you, what I would ask for is, what do I need to do to be promoted? Let's have not a 15-minute conversation about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. Let's have a 30 to 45-minute conversation on what specifically are the things I need to be doing to get promoted, to move ahead in my career, to take on more responsibility. And also, don't be afraid of the feedback on what's holding you back. Okay, third one. Over the summer, I was told after several interviews with a company from the person who would be my direct supervisor that I don't have good marketing experience, and this person critiqued my resume. Fast forward to today, she's reached out to me that I have good experience and would fit the team well in another role. Should I even be considering this role or tell them thanks but no thanks? Of course you should be considering that role. Do you want to work for this company? I think that's incredible that you made such an impact that the company followed up, that the hiring manager followed up to see if you could be a fit elsewhere. You can be proud and you can be stubborn and you can be pig-headed and be like, "Ooh, they critiqued me. I didn't like being criticized. I'm never going to work there." Totally. If you hate the company because they criticize your lack of experience, you're going to have way bigger issues in your career, but okay. Or you can go pursue this job and crush it and get more marketing experience and earn experience while you're working at the company. So it's really your call. I think if you have a job now that you're happy in, don't pursue it. Say thank you so much, but no thank you. But I would absolutely not pursue it just because they critiqued you. I had lunch with someone on Friday and she was, because I go to lunch with humans instead of playing Wordle. But anyway, so I had lunch with someone on Friday and we were talking about taking feedback. And I think one of the things is nobody likes feedback. Everybody hates feedback. I hate feedback. Feedback sucks. But when you get feedback, you got to go into the feedback being like, I'm the GOAT. If you think about Tom Brady or, Josh Allen more aptly, womp womp, Patriot season, sad. He's legit. If you're Josh Allen and you're about to go into the championship and the quarterback coach is telling you that like 30% of your throws on Saturday night sucked, you don't feel sad and insecure and vulnerable. You're like, I'm the fucking GOAT. I won the game. I'm a great quarterback. And this person is here to help make me better. So be the GOAT. This woman had a great phrase of be the GOAT, right? When you get feedback, don't go into it all mopey and insecure and fragile. Go into it on like, I'm really good at what I do. This person's giving me feedback to help make me better, and take the feedback like a champion. I think that's in general a great way to have a long, successful, and frankly fulfilling career, because you're going to get feedback, you're going to listen to it, you're going to accept most of it, you're going to reject some of it. It's going to either piss you off or fuel you or ultimately make you better, and that's going to help you progress and proceed. Okay, last one. I love my job, but it doesn't offer health insurance. What do I do? One, I would ask your company when they're going to offer health insurance. Is there ever a plan to have health insurance? Maybe you work for a startup. Maybe you work for a company that's really small. Maybe you work for more of a family operation. I would just be blunt and ask the question, hey, are you guys ever going to have health insurance? Health insurance is very common. It's not like you're asking for like ice cream sundaes on Friday. Like health insurance is fairly basic. The second thing, if they're like, hey, we're never going to offer health insurance, then maybe you ask for a raise to help cover your health insurance costs. And I think that's a very reasonable thing to do. That's it for Q&A. We have a new men's grooming line. The brand is called Wood. I love the brand. Would you? I think like it's sexy, it's hot. When you look at most of the products in men's grooming, one, they smell like absolute shit. You can smell someone using an Axe product from like 2 miles away. Josh Richards showed up here at the same time as Tico. Like, I was assaulted by the smell of marijuana. And then even worse than that was the smell of like cheap body wash. Anyways, we're trying to solve all that. We have a brand called Wood. You can only get it in CVS. So we've made it with one of the best companies in the business. You can find it at most CVS everywhere. They tell me that if you use it, it helps you get laid. I can't confirm nor deny that, but I can tell you that it works and smells as good as it looks. Speaking of our Q&As, Wood is for the guy who isn't going to wait for life to come to him. He's going to go out and get it. We've got 3 cents, Golden Hour, Summer House, and Fresh Tracks. And you can go to getwood.com or find it at your local CVS. That's WOULD.com. All right, so next up, we have 3 awesome women joining us. having a conversation with Brianna Decker, Megan Keller, and Amanda Kessel. It just made me smile so much. It made me so happy. They're so fresh and excited and hopeful and proud and earnest. Like the level of like dimple, like ding in that conversation was just amazing. So Winter Olympics are coming. They're on NBC. Opening ceremonies are February 4th. I love the Winter Olympics. I think there's nothing better than watching the Olympics. Hockey is my favorite thing to watch. I also like ice skating, which we talked a lot about. But what I'm excited about for these three women is the chance to go represent America, the chance to go play great hockey, the chance to be stars on a global stage. They also have a really big job. We won the gold. The U.S. won the gold in the last Olympics. It's the first time in 20 years where the U.S. is defending its gold medal. These women have been on the My Y tour. I can't even say that word. It's, again, like a tampon. But anyways, they've been on the My Y tour. We've been getting our ass kicked by Canada all preseason. They had a great answer for that. They're like, okay, let's get the kinks out. Let's get the team right. Let's get the right people on the bench. And they are going to peak at the right time and go crush in Beijing. So this is our interview. So we've got Megan Keller, we've got Amanda Kessel, we've got Brianna Decker. You're play for Team USA women's hockey. You're headed to Beijing for the Olympics. Let's have each one of you share your number, your position, and what you're most excited about.
Sure, I'll go first. I play center, and I'm number 14. The thing I'm excited about the most is it's just been a long time where, you know, we haven't been back to the Olympics in 4 years, and it's going to be great to be able to play with my teammates on the Olympic stage. And I think it's so cool to see some of the young girls, their first like their face when they first get out there on the Olympic stage. And then obviously when you're an older player and you've been there a few times, I think you just take the moment in still like it's the first time.
Okay, great. And say your name.
Oh, Brianna Decker. Sorry. See, I'm so old. I couldn't remember my name.
I know. I hear you. You're just practically senile at this point. Okay, Amanda, you go next.
So I'm Amanda Kessel. I'm a forward, number 28. A little bit of what Brianna said. Most excited, I think, just to get there. It's like Disneyland for like a month. Like it's so hard to like explain, but it's seriously just the coolest thing ever. Like going in there, seeing like every country's flag, like in the village, and then the dining hall. I love just sitting in the dining hall and like staring at all the different athletes and countries and like kind of gossiping in there. We'll see like how it is this time with COVID. I'm not sure if there's gonna be like barriers up or whatnot. And then like seeing like the girls on our team, like the first timers getting there, it's just like you can't describe it to them. And we have something called processing where you go, and for us it's going to take place in LA this time, but you go in like a huge like warehouse basically and just like get a million clothes and like just fitted for everything. And
like the polo stuff, is this where like you get all the like sponsored, and then they give you bags, or are you like supposed to bring like a garbage bag and put all the stuff in it?
Basically it's like you literally come out with just like 2 bags, like stuffed with like everything possible, sunglasses, like 20 outfits. It's just incredible. But it's like
I want that.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
That's amazing. Okay, Megan Keller, why don't you go?
Yep, I'm Megan Keller. I'm defense. I'm number 5. And similar to Amanda and Dex, I think I'm most excited getting over there and getting with the rest of all the Team USA athletes. It's so cool to be a part of a team bigger than just your sport, and watching all the other athletes compete and cheering for them on in the games is so exciting. And I remember last time around watching Red Gerard bring home the first gold medal for the US, and we were with all of our teammates, and it was so fun to watch and be a part of. So I think that's something I'm looking forward to.
That's awesome. Okay, Brianna, you also forgot your number, I think.
No, I remembered 14. I swear. Yeah.
Years old.
Okay. All right. So you go to LA, you go to your warehouse shopping spree, then you're going to get on the plane to Beijing. Do you guys fly coach, or you fly first class, or is it a charter? Like, what's that?
Well, this is a special occasion. We are flying charter with other Team USA athletes from LA to Beijing. I don't think it's like a fancy plane. I think it's a normal plane, but it's just going to have USA athletes on there. So it's going to be kind of a unique situation.
And does everybody get on the charter, or do only some people get on the charter? Like, how do you get on the charter?
Wait, but listen to this. Like, our issue right now is that we're flying like regular commercial to LA, and then we're gonna charter. So we need to not get it on a commercial flight. So we've been like,
are you worried about getting COVID on a commercial flight?
Yeah. So we're looking for like a charter.
Can I tell you about this? My parents and my brother and my cousin are on vacation right now in the most piece of shit island vacation destination on the planet. I refuse to go anymore. It sucks. Okay. It's like New Hampshire on the beach. I'm telling you, like, imagine that. And that's how bad it is. Anyways, so I called them yesterday. They all got COVID on the plane. That's like a thing.
Well, that's what we're saying. Why are we flying charter to Beijing, but then not charter from Minnesota to LA? And unfortunately, I think it's just like a funding, and they've tried like everything they can to try and.
So you guys gonna like quadruple mask on there, or like you're gonna like have the gloves and the hazmats? That's what I would do if I were you.
We might have to do that. Yeah.
I didn't think you could get COVID on an airplane, but I guess you can. I was telling my mother that no one goes to this fucking island, so it's a lie, and they just want 5 more days of like income. But anyways, non sequitur. All right, so you guys, so we get to Beijing. Are we worried about the food?
Not really, I don't think, because I think they're required, like all the Olympics are required to have a certain percentage of American, European, like food from your country. We were really lucky last time around where we brought USOPC chefs over, and while you were competing, the US athletes had their own private, separate dining area outside of the village. So while you were competing, you got pretty good American meals cooked by these amazing chefs. And as soon as you were done competing, you had to go eat in the dining hall. I think we had McDonald's every single night after we won. So it didn't really matter at that point. But I don't know. We have some picky eaters, some dietary needs.
Oh, but, really? Like
our staff is always pretty good, though, at bringing a bunch of snacks. And they last time around, they did a breakfast room. So like our med staff and nutrition staff actually cooked breakfast like in our village dorm, so just for us. So they brought like a griddle and everything. Yeah, they're awesome.
Next thing is like, all right, how's this gonna go, the dating situation? So like our hookup dating situation, right? So you're gonna get on the plane, there's gonna be all these hot athletes are better looking than everybody, everyone knows it, like everyone's tall and good, the teeth, like everybody's good looking and fabulous. Like, do you have a good hookup game or no?
we last time we'd call it bay watching. We would like sit out our
like, remember when it was like the Summer Olympics and it was the Carly Rae Jepsen song, or Jetson or whatever her name is? And
Call Me Maybe.
Yeah, that was so cute. Like,
we need to bring that song back. That's actually
that's a good song. Yeah.
Okay, so keep going, Amanda.
But this time it's gonna be interesting because I think that we won't really be allowed to like talk to many people during the games. Not that we like usually do during the tournament anyways, but yeah, like I think we'll kind of be more isolated. So we'll have to do more like watching.
You're gonna have to hook up just with Team USA.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Well, yeah, we might just have to stick to the sexting part of.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
I'm kidding.
That's fine. Okay, and what's the like app of choice for that? Are you like Snapchatting, or like are you on Instagram? Like what are we using?
Well, I think we have to worry about some hacking that goes on over there a little bit. So
okay, that's
going to be another kind of like thing we're going to have to worry about. Not the sex or anything. I'm just saying in general. Like I think it's that's just something we have to be careful of. Like when we're getting our phones hacked and stuff. So.
I mean, if it's not COVID, it's like the Chinese hackers. Like, what's a girl to do?
Gonna be a different Olympics.
Yeah, for sure. Masks on, clothes off. Let's go. So anyways, okay, so let's actually talk about the hockey. Okay. All right, you guys start on the 3rd. We're playing Finland. And then you play, I think, all the way through the 17th, I want to say. So you have a long run of playing. So you're going to get to eat in the good cafeteria. I've been a little bit concerned about us versus US versus Canada. Like, I don't know what's going on in the My Y situation, but I want to talk about that because that was the finals and we beat them last time. So what's your, like, how are you feeling about the competition? Give me what are you seeing happen on the ice? What are you envisioning on the ice?
I mean, the tournament's going to be what we expect. And that's going to be a competitive game no matter who we're playing. We're obviously, excited to get over there and play as a team. I think, having to play Finland first, I think is a great indicator of where we're going to stand going through the tournament as far as they're really competitive. They have good goaltending. And so I think we're just going to take it one game at a time. Obviously, our goal is to get to the gold medal game on February 17th. And if we take it game by game, I think we should see ourselves in a good position on the 17th.
That's a very professional answer on your part, Brianna Decker. What's the brand of the Finnish team? Like, who are they? Like, if the Finland team is a movie character, who is it? Who are they? Like, are they bitchy? Are they, like, nice and blonde? Like, are we, like, legally blonde? Or are we, like...
Oh, that's a tough... They're, like, a skilled, like, team. Like, a lot of the European teams, they're, like, not as, like, physical. Like, obviously, all these games get heated because we develop rivalries when you play them so often. But they're, like, very, like, silky and skilled, I would say.
Oh, so they're, like, the girl from Frozen. What's her name?
Elsa.
Okay. And who's Team Canada?
Somebody we don't like.
Like
anything we don't like.
Yeah. But are they like nice and just good? Are they nice but really good? Or are they jerks?
They're structured.
They're structured, or we're structured.
No, they're like, yeah, it's like
they're anal. Like
no, it's just like very. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to tell me this, but I'm going to ask you, like, what are we doing differently in Beijing that we have been doing in My Y?
The thing is about this year is, like, obviously we start with a larger group, and so we have to eventually make the final team. And throughout the year and the tournament, it's kind of like you're trying things out. People are still trying out. You're trying different line combination. Nothing is really set in stone. Like, You're never playing with your final roster or, like, obviously playing to win, but I think that we have a lot more to show than.
Yeah, than you have shown. And it hasn't, like, you haven't gelled on the final thing yet.
Yeah, and, like, within our locker room, like, I feel really good, and I think our team feels really good. Like, we had a lot of younger kids that hadn't really ever even been, like, made the national team before. And so to have everybody kind of come together, it took a little bit of time, and I think that we're, like, in a really, really good spot.
What other team are you, like, gunning for besides Canada? Let's be honest.
Honestly, like, yeah, I think all of them, like, Meg said, for all of them, like, we're, I gave you a professional answer earlier, but it's the truth.
And I get like, non-professional one?
Well, I mean, I threw sexting out there and it haunted me about a minute later, so.
You did. I give you credit for that.
Yeah. But no, like, honestly, the biggest thing and a strength of ours as a team is, like, we do focus on ourselves and how we can get better every single game. And I know that does sound like a structured answer, but it's the truth. We do focus on ourselves. That's one thing you got to do as a team going through the tournament. You have to obviously prepare for each opponent that you're going to face. But at the end of the day, like, are we getting better every single game so that we're playing our best by the end of the tournament?
And then are you guys like a pranky type of group? Like, are we going to do pranks in the locker room? Are you going to do like pranks on the Chinese team? Like, what's the feeling on pranks?
I don't know if we want to prank the Chinese team.
They'll probably like steal all your data on your faces.
We may get stuck there, but definitely we're a pranking team.
Okay.
Kess and Hill and Dex, like literally all of our team, somebody's always up to something, and you kind of have your head on a swivel and always be aware.
I would say Amanda's the biggest prankster, I would say.
Amanda just looks like she always has like that shit-eating grin and then the like blonde hair and the eyelashes, so you don't really think it's her, you know what I mean? But it is her.
Right away, like people, what did I do? I haven't really had any good ones lately. I did something to Dex. You right away were like, that's her. Like,
no, but like you stole Meg's snacks out of her bag at the airport the one time. I was like, why?
Yeah, I was so excited to sit down, eat my bag of Skittles on the plane. I'm like searching my backpack. I'm like, shoot, I must have like left them where I was sitting. And then all of a sudden, like I just had a feeling. I'm like, it was Amanda. Like I know every time now. I'm like, it was her. And one time, like, she like hid my book. I know, shocking. I was reading a book. She hid it under my backpack, and like, so I couldn't find it. And I was like, Amanda took my book. I know she did. And then I found it under my backpack. I was like, oh shoot, I must have just misplaced it. But no, it was her the whole time.
I love a locker room prank. I like minored in locker room pranks. I love a locker room prank. That person is so important on the team. Like in the same way the decker is important, the prank person I also think is very important. Okay, so let's talk about the shootout. So odd thing in hockey that very often when it comes to a tie score, there's a shootout. I think last time you guys won on a shootout. Does that stress you out? And who do you want in that spot?
I mean, I think we've like kind of, realized that it is part of the game. And so our preparation leading up to the games is like that stuff that we work on a weekly basis. I won in the shootout. Whoever's going to score a damn goal, honestly. And then for our goalie, whoever's in there who's hot and who's going to make the right saves at the right time. I think we have a lot of skilled players on our team, so I think a lot of different players can go in that scenario. But you obviously want people who can deal with pressure as well. It's obviously going to be a pressure situation. So.
All right. So, do you have to have a roommate in the Olympic Village?
Well, we are in rooms of like 4. So they're like little apartments. And then this time we all get our own bedroom. So we just work out our roommates. Me and Megs are in the same little.
Yeah, we kind of got to pick our own ish, but not really. Like some of us older girls assigned the rooms, but we took some feedback from the team, and obviously we're like, okay, we're not going to split up Megs and Cass. So
because they can't be split up, is that how it works?
They go together.
They go together. Okay.
Yeah,
We're a package deal.
Wait, and then you have to put like the pups with someone. Like there's clearly some 19-year-old on the team who's going to go get shit-faced your first night in Beijing. Like do you assign like a senior and a junior?
We put some young kids with some responsible older kids too, but we also put some of the young kids, like 2 young kids together with like a couple older girls. Because I was like, when I think of like young kids, I always used to think of like Megs, because like her first Olympics, and like Meg, for some reason I remember like you were just like in awe and like so smiley, and you still are, but like you just loved it. And some of the young kids on our team remind me of her, and I was like, I want them to like be together so that they can experience that first time together, because I think that's like a lot of fun.
That's great. I would never leave a young person with Amanda Kessel.
Good point.
They would have a blast.
You are the defending champions. So does that create more pressure for you? Like, do you feel pressure going in, or is every Olympics different, or how do you feel about that?
Okay. I mean, I don't think there's any pressure going into it. Like the past Olympics was 4 years ago, and it's a completely different quad, and we have a lot of new faces. We're a whole new team, and it's just a completely different journey. And each time it's different, and these guys have been through it more than me. But I think, you're not really focused on what has happened in the past. You're only kind of like looking ahead. And I think obviously having that feeling of winning gold, it's something you want to replicate and do again. And you want to get back to that moment, because it was so special to be a part of, and you definitely want to do it again. But I think each time it's so different, and each journey is going to be there's going to be changes and different adversities. So
that's great. You guys agree with that?
yeah.
The other thing is, so this is theoretically a podcast about work, although I never talk about work. How do you guys, does it make you mad when you get on the plane and there's the men's team? Like, how do you feel about people who are paid more than you for their jobs? Like, do you think about that?
Go ahead. You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
we're going to get a really good answer.
There you are. So from the Olympic standpoint, honestly, like, I don't think about that, because I just think about, hey, this is the situation where we're all representing our country. So for once, we're at an equal stance. Like, we're really doing the exact same thing as the other, the men's team or what other athletes there are out there. But I think about that in the sense of, like, they probably are paying for their own charter flight to LA to get on that charter flight. Like, they have the ability to, like, fly privately, I'm sure, by themselves. But so I just think about some of that stuff, which is probably, I wish that we had the ability to do, and the financial support too.
And then do you feel, that's a great answer. And it's such an honor to play in an Olympics, right? Like, you're Olympians. That's such a big deal. Like, it's so cool. I think it's amazing that in 2022, the Olympics means something. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so few things like that have meant something for so long, and to represent your country, I think that's so amazing. So I had this awesome meeting with EA Sports, which I think I probably mentioned to you guys like 2 years ago, and I asked why they didn't have women's hockey players, and then they told me that it was a technical issue, which was one of my favorite things ever, because putting a female name on the back of a small stick figure hockey player is just technically tough. But we're here, and there are now female players. Brianna, you're one. Talk about that. Just give me how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's freaking awesome. I think, growing up, first off, I'm not a huge gamer, but when I was growing up, I obviously played, NHL 99 or whatever it was out there at the time, 95.
Yourself.
99.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to date myself. I already have on this. So, but I think, like, it's so cool to be able to, go on, get on the video game, and then I can, be Megan Keller as a defenseman, or I can, sign up and play as, like, another player on our team. I just think that's, like, incredible. It's crazy how long it's taken to have females, like, on the video game, but obviously thankful that we're able to have that now. And I just think it's pretty surreal, to be honest.
That's cool. I'm happy for you on that. Ladies, do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, I just think it's really exciting. I have a PS4 literally sitting behind my computer right now, and I was going to sell it on Facebook Marketplace or give it to my brother. And now I'm like, no, I have to keep it because I want to play, like, as everybody. Like, I think that's one of the coolest things. And it's huge for, like, our sport, just for, like, the next generation of fans and players to get that visibility. I think it's really awesome.
That's so great. My next question for you guys is, do you get, putting aside, like, that it's an honor and a privilege and all that, like, talking about the figure skating girls, like, somebody's walking out of there with a $15 million endorsement deal to be on the cover of blah, 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 or the box of blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you think about that? Like, you're a team sport, you're a quote unquote niche sport, which I would disagree with, but let's face it, like, how does that bother you, or no? Or do you even think about that?
Honestly, like, personally, no. Unfortunately, like, that's been our reality. Like, would we love to change that? Yes. But there also is nothing greater than, like, winning a gold medal, but, like, with your teammates. So, like, I think that's what's so cool about being
in a team sport.
Yeah, like, that's, like, the best part about it is, like, winning and celebrating with your teammates, and, like, always remembering, like, those memories.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I think everyone's eyes are going to be on you.
I think so too. Like,
I think that you all came out of the last Olympics and just arrived, and you're so smiley and, like, excited and wholesome, and I think it's going to be great. I would love to see us win. All right, so last up, we're going to talk about the stock market. Before we get into that, let's just talk about Masterworks. So one of the things that's happening is obviously we're in a time of the retail investor. Robinhood is like the if you're not sports betting, you're investing in your Robinhood app. All of that activity is targeted to men. Women, lo and behold, shocking, are great investors. What's incredible about Masterworks is Masterworks lets you invest in art. So when you think about all different type of asset classes, right? You can invest in stocks, you could invest in bonds, you can keep your money under your couch or your mattress. That's not investing because your money is not working for you. You can also invest in art. Art is a valuable asset. What Masterworks lets you do is to be able to invest in art. They're the startup democratizing the art market, giving everyday investors a piece of the art pie. So in the same way that Robinhood democratized stock investing, Masterworks is democratizing art investing. They're the first company to fractionalize blue chip art, so you can own shares of a piece of art without breaking the bank. So you can own a piece of a Picasso, you can own a piece of a Monet, you can own a piece of a Banksy without having to be rich enough to own the whole thing. If you go to masterworks.art/token, that's masterworks.art/TOKEN, you can join 300,000 other investors who are investing in great pieces of art. If you want to see all the disclosures, because as we know, any asset investment requires disclosures, you can go to masterworks.io/disclaimer. Personally, I would just go to masterworks.art/token, but that's just me. All right, so the question on adulting is, should I invest in the stock market and how? Why should anybody do anything, right? So you should think about, what is it you're actually trying to do? Have you saved for retirement? Do you have crazy credit card debt? Are you able to do the things you want in your day-to-day life? If the answer is yes, no, yes, then yeah, for sure, go get involved in the stock market. Try to make money. I have a Robinhood account. I love it. I love to invest in stocks. I'm not, I think I'm actually pretty good at it, just to be honest, humble brag. But I don't put a lot of money into it. I invest $100 at a time. And mostly I just do it in companies that I'm interested in or that I'm watching. But the real question is should I invest? I think the bigger question with that is why? What are you trying to do? Are you bored and you're looking to do something and you don't understand sports betting and you just want to find a different way to gamble? Then sure, invest in the stock market. Are all of your financial needs taken care of and you're looking to make a plan for short or mid or long-term gains? Then sure, do that. If you have credit card debt, if you're stressed about paying your rent every month, if you haven't funded a retirement account, then I would say no, don't put money in the stock market. So that's my high-level financial segment. People can let me know what they think about that. All right, last up, we've got our Work Like a Girl segment. So I am so fired up about this woman. So we have a token listener. She's created an awesome business. Her name is Molly Borman-Haymont. Here is what's awesome about Molly. You guys know we've created the Like a Girl segment because we want to feature women doing awesome things. She's created a company called Just Nips. What Just Nips are is exactly what it sounds like. They're just nipples. It's plastic fake nipples. She started it as a gag gift. She was like, ha ha ha, wouldn't it be cute to give little nipples to people? Which I think people do that. Somebody gave me a nipple hat once, and I think people think nipples are titillating. Haha, get it? But I think people think nipples are make you nipples make people uncomfortable, or they're sexual, or they're funny, or there's some combination. Anyways, long story short, Molly created the nipples. She did it as a gag gift. She probably made them super cheaply. She realized that women who are going through breast cancer or having mastectomies, very often lose their nipples, and these women started asking her to help them. And that's exactly what she did. So she'll tell you her story here.
Hi, Erika. My name is Molly. I'm the founder and CEO of Just Nips Fake Nipples. I make nipple enhancers designed to make women look cold and feel hot. I started as a fun and sexy gag gift, which quickly turned into one of the biggest nipple accessories on the market for women with breast cancer. Right when I started, it was fun, it was silly. I was making these by hand. Quickly, we got a ton of press, obviously, because of nipples. And, women were asking me, are these medically sound? Can I wear these over an incision? I said, I don't know, but I feel I have to find out. I took a huge leap of faith, hired a medical engineer. We revamped the product. We now are, again, one of the biggest breast cancer accessories on the market. And I'm proud to say that the competition is over $300 for a nipple adhesive. Ours are $9.99, made in the USA.
All right, so one bonus thing here is we want everyone who's listening to this to be able to see what life is like here and how we create this thing, and honestly how we're trying to get better at it. So we're going to include our production meeting this week. Little bit tense, but very productive. Feedback is a gift.
All right, so in general on this, we've got to get the tiger, not the tail. Like, if she sucks at being transparent, I've known I'm going to Miami since November. So it's like, I want a meeting on Thursday of this week. I want to do goals. I want to understand what the vision is for the pod, and then what is the filter through which we run everything. Like, we need a filter. My concern with us is, like, I'll give you, like, stock market. I should actually, if I'm going to be responsible to the listeners of this, actually think about the fucking stock market before I talk about it. Okay. Right. This just says stock market. Okay. So it's like, you're putting me in a situation where I have to ask for the show. I'm nagging on the show. I'm asking for the point of view. And it puts me, when I'm on the seat, it puts me in a tough spot where I don't have any time to process or think, or, like, I don't know what a good answer is on the stock market. I'm going to talk about that to hundreds of thousands of people in like 5 minutes. So it's like.
So I do want to push back a little bit, because I don't think, like, yesterday was like warranted for what this was.
If the record episode is at 10, yesterday was unacceptable.
So I don't think there's ever been a time where I haven't really gotten you the script or anything.
But, like, all I'm saying is, if your job is for everyone's here's job,
right,
except mine, in a weird way, is to make this a great show.
Yeah.
When am I supposed to see that? Me seeing it the morning of is not a great show.
Right. And the issue wasn't, I talked to Danielle about this separately. I did not know that you were not here on Tuesday.
Totally, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Totally.
So then there was no notification or communication that I knew. So when I saw it at 4:30, and I texted them on 4:30 Friday afternoon, I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, they deserve a weekend. I started compiling all the headlines, and I was going to work on it yesterday, and that's like when we were messaging anyway. Mm-hmm. So I was going to get it to you ahead of time, but I was.
What's ahead of time? Was it this morning?
I had a crazy personal weekend, and I was trying to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your job here is to run this show.
Yeah, but I got it to you. And
but not ahead of me.
Right.
I'm running a company.
Yeah. No, and I get that, but what I'm saying is I was working on it, and I was going to do it on Sunday. I didn't want to bother your weekend. I didn't want to bother their weekend. And I was working on it, and I was going to get it to you.
Yeah.
And it's also a little frustrating for me sometimes, because I do put in work to this, and sometimes I feel like it just goes totally unnoticed.
But then let's think about it differently, right? So, like, in my opinion, why isn't Danielle in the production meeting?
She's invited to all of them.
But then you're senior. Like, you need to be like, you're accountable to this. Or, hey, Erika, she never fucking shows up, and your schedule changes. She's fucking me on this pod. I think that is a completely acceptable thing to say.
Right.
If I were in your shoes, I might have said, hey, you know what? We thought we had till Wednesday to record this. This thing got moved up 72 hours or 48 hours. can we record at 8 a.m. on Zoom on Wednesday? You guys know I'll do anything time-wise, but I need you to do that.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't trying to make things more difficult.
I know you're not. All I'm saying is like, get in charge of this thing.
Yeah.
It is your product.
Yeah, and I like to think
it's like everybody. You're doing a great job. All I'm saying is like, I really want to win it with this thing. The more time I spend with this, the more I think we are actually onto something and could deliver something great for the people who listen to this and get more people to listen to it.
I agree.
Getting the notes 5 minutes before the show, not having any time to think about it, having to ask for everything on it, not having a filter through which we run through everything, not having goals. For me, is like, like this is a business podcast. That's how I run this business. So like my thing is like, if you guys, Daniela and I need to sit and be like, let's plan the month of recording, and the recording is sacred, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like I will do whatever.
And we have a meeting today to actually like plan out all of the reports going forward and making sure that like there is a time, and that was independent of this whole conversation.
Totally.
So like that exists, and I don't. Again, I'm not trying to make things more difficult, and I'm trying to
No, you're not making them difficult.
Yeah, I'm trying to alleviate things from you, and part of the reason why I wasn't getting out of it is because I didn't want to annoy you on your weekend. You know what I mean? And I know you're different, but it's also a respect thing, and I just didn't also want to trickle down to them. And
but the thing is, it's the show.
Yeah.
So like the show, what we have to be accountable to is this thing we're making, and what's being sacrificed because people aren't committing or it's late or whatever. Like the respect for everybody's weekends, like. I get everybody has a weekend. Like you look like you had an amazing weekend. I am looking at the show.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, the show can't be recorded today. Let's not record it today. But you're not saying that. So I need it's either like if I'm in charge, then I'm in charge.
Yeah.
If I'm not in charge and you guys want to run it, but you guys should also be screaming. Like we don't promote merch.
I think we do. And the part of the other issue was there were supply chain issues with some of the, and we don't have product.
100%, but you guys never complain. Like,
no, we
talk
a lot.
We talk. We have a whole Slack group.
Yeah,
but it's like the
like constantly
give a shit notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the work like a girl mugs. Where's the work like a girl mug in here?
We don't have it.
Yeah.
That's what we talk to them all.
So it's like, but what I would like is like, how would you like to integrate the get shit done notebook? I've never even seen that thing. So it's like
that's the whole thing. They stopped making it.
Yeah, they stopped making it.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they ran out of the insert paper for it.
Something stupid like
So
that.
that we have to change
But then
the
it's
whole
like,
thing.
okay, so but then like you guys need to start screaming because it's your look. It's like the tiger and the tail thing. You guys are at the back of the cat. I want you to be the cat.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, this is fucked up. We're not doing merch again until we can do blah blah blah. But it's like, if we're gonna create this world that we get behind, we've got to find the things and become maniacal on them, and we have to be maniacal about the product of the show. And I really am looking for you guys to be my boss in it. And where I get upset is when I'm pushing harder for it than I think you are. And I know you guys work so hard, and I know like it's not a reflection of like work or respect or effort or notice. It's like our job is to make the single best like business life podcast out there.
And I think we all love it so much.
Yeah.
And we agree. Like we want this to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we're behind it. So I don't. Yeah, I agree.
We always
I don't
just
think
want
that's
like
a question.
more view on it.
So that's great, but then I'm all in on that.
Right.
But the problem with you guys is that everything else will come first.
Right.
And no one gives you guys the respect of like,
Yeah, because
this
we can
time
get.
is sacred.
Yeah,
We'll just
shift it.
move.
Yeah,
We'll just
exactly.
move.
Yeah.
But the reality is it fucks you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it fucks you, then I'm like, what the fuck?
No.
So it's
Yeah.
like you've got to you got to box out. I feel like we are forced to be so reactive. What I think is actually happening is that because the schedule's so volatile, you're shoved into the margins. I feel shoved into the margins on this show. It's reflected in the work. the pod is awesome when it's awesome, and when it's not, it's okay, and I'm not great. I would like to be better. What I'm sharing with you guys is I don't feel like I'm set up for success when I'm hearing about I need to talk about the stock market 6 minutes before I go talk about it. That's not good for anybody, and it's really not good for me. The third is that until we get proactive, we're not able to do the things we want. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we want to spend more time thinking about how we promote merch, or I don't know, the audio cues, or like
Stuff around
this, that, other thing. And if we're only doing one episode a week, like, when are we kicking off Work Like a Girl? Like, I really want to get to, like, I think you guys are capable of doing all of it. I don't think it's going to happen the way we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Like, we have to get more aggressive. You guys have to get mouthier. Like, you've really got to box out with everyone here, because I care about this. And it's like, I think there's a difference in this company anyways of, like, you can tell who really cares about their pod and who doesn't. And we're kind of in the middle-ish. And I want to get to the, like, all right, we're in it to win it. We know what we're doing. We have a plan. You know, like this, here's where you guys need the rest of this world to map to what you're doing. And it's like, there's always a reason why it can't, or it should, or blah, like, whatever is inhibiting that success, then I would love for you. I want you to feel so empowered to go be like, Erika, you need to go fix that, or you're gonna go fix it. And I don't mind fixing it. But it's like, it's just reactive.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe, leave us a rating, give us a review. We love feedback. You can DM us video questions. We'd love to feature women who are working like a girl. I'm trying to do an episode on Girl Scout cookies, so if you have a lead on a woman/girl selling Girl Scout cookies, let us know. Or if anyone listening to this works for the Girl Scouts, I would love to talk to you. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple. You can join our Facebook group. We've got mentorships groups kicking off. So check out those if you haven't already. And then we obviously have things you missed. And that's it for today's episode.